South Point offers all the types of entertainment you'd expect at a first-class Las Vegas resort. Did you know our 400-seat showroom is one of Las Vegas's top destinations for live entertainment? Enjoy live performances by classic Vegas entertainers, bands, and today's hottest comedians, plus a rock and dance floor. You can also enjoy live entertainment at the Grand View Lounge, where you'll feel all the vibes of old Las Vegas. Enjoy the music, and if you love to laugh, don't miss The Dirty at 12:30, our very own free comedy show, every Friday night at 12:30 a.m. in the Grand View Lounge. The Dirty is 100% free, so arrive early. Go to southpointcasino.com or call the box office at 77136 for today's performances at the showroom and the Grand View Lounge. When you're ready for your favorite cocktail, stop in and unwind at one of our 7 specialty lounges. There's a bar around every corner, because you're in Vegas, baby. South Point Casino has plenty of attractions for the whole family. Catch a movie. Our 16-screen movie theater includes 2 XD Extreme screens for the ultimate in viewing, sound, and luxury. After the show, treat the family to a variety of treats at our old-fashioned ice cream parlor, Kate's Corner. We scoop up a variety of creamy concoctions, including smoothies, hand-dipped cones, milkshakes, malts, sodas, and sundaes. At Kate's, there's something for everyone. And if you've still got time to spare, our bowling center might be right up your alley. Voted Best of Las Vegas, it's a great place for friends and family fun. 64 lanes, a pro shop, snack bar, and arcade. And while the kids are bowling, you can play slots and sip on a drink in the Alley Cat Lounge while overlooking the lanes. For our more serious and professional bowlers, the South Point is also home to a separate tournament bowling plaza.
Sports by the book.
Sports by the book.
Sports by the book. Sports by the book, South Point Studio.
We don't make stuff up here.
I would only play the Pirates team total going under.
What the hell happened to Minnesota's pitching?
This total has really crashed without plumbing the lineup.
I think this number's too high, but they're laying me the 6.
Oh, I know.
Caitlin Clark drives handle on the WNBA.
Never mind all these Mickey Mouse other stations. We are giving you hands-on information.
It's Sports by the Book at the South Point Studio. Here's Jeff Parles and Alex White.
Good morning. Welcome in. It is Sports by the Book here at the South Point Studio. Jeff Parles, Alex White. We're happy to be with you as always, Alex. Good morning.
Good morning. Happy Friday. I'm excited about this weekend and a big fight card coming up.
Yes, and that's where we're going to actually begin today. I know some will be waiting for the battle of the trivia question a little bit later, as Nick has a chance to upend JR, which would be quite the upset. But we're going to get to UFC 317 just down the road from us at T-Mobile Arena tomorrow night, and we're going to bring in our good friend right now. We haven't seen him in a few months. Our good friend Lou Finicaro, Gamblou on the tweets, joins us right now. Lou, good morning. Thank you for being with us today.
Well, thanks for having me. It's great when the UFC gets a little shine. This is their biggest production of their year, their spotlight. They've got 2 title fights and some really excellent matchups. Hopefully, that will be well worth the pay-per-view fee to watch a little violence come Saturday night.
Well, Lou, we're gonna work our way to the climax event. So we're gonna start off though with 2 earlier fights on the card here. We got ourselves Jose Delgado and Haider Emil in one fight, and then you have Lopez and Talbot in the other. You're looking to throw these 2 together here, Lou.
Yeah, Young Silva is his name, the Brazilian, and I'm going to team him with Silva. Give me those guys again, please, Jeff.
Yeah, I can do that. So the Lima Talbot fight and the Delgado Emil fight. Yes.
Yeah. Lima faces a guy in Talbot that is in a really critical fight here. Talbot has great striking, but really weak grappling, we discovered in his last fight. Lima, very well-rounded. Then when we go to the other fight with Delgado and Emil, it's kind of the same story. Delgado has the more well-rounded skill set. He's longer, taller, younger, but Emil is a bulldog and will take the fight right to him. In both cases, I like the favorite here put together to create a little parlay that will create plus money. I usually want to return more than I'm investing, and that's the way I'm going to do it with those two fights.
I'm going to take you to a really good one up next, Lou. So we've got a rebooked fight here between Beneil Dariush and Moicano. You like the underdog in this one. It's pretty much a pick 'em, but tell us why you like Dariush in this.
Yeah, two really excellent fighters. They're about the same age, so the 35, 36 years old doesn't really hurt or hinder one or the other. These guys are almost mirror images of each other outside of personality, where Dariush is a low-key, humble guy. He's a dad. He showed up to the ceremonial weigh-ins yesterday in a just ratted-out gym shorts shirt, and the gym shorts had a big hole right in the rear end of it. He's my kind of guy. Meanwhile, Money Moicano has tapped into social media. He realizes lightning in a bottle for him is his personality. He has a great one, and I think it's affecting the price on the fight, even though Dariush opened plus 150 or so and money's come in on him. I would say to you that Dariush should be maybe a 120, 125 favorite here. It's Moicano's popularity keeping this fight close as it is, at least right now. And I think Dariush has the heavier hands, the more apt striking game, and he's better on the ground. And I think we'll find that out tomorrow night. Anything near pick'em or plus money on Dariush is a buy.
Let's keep moving our way up the card or towards the main event, and we got again. You got two title fights at the top, and this one that's the second to last fight of the night. Royval and Van, pretty even numbers here on this fight. Lou, what are we looking at here?
We're looking at a fighter in Van that just turned 23. He's young, he's strong, he's got it all. His future is great. He's an ascending fighter, but he fought 3 weeks ago and won and looked great. You turn around in 3 weeks' time, new cut, everything else. It's something. Good thing Van's 23. The issue with Van is that he's done this back to back to back. This will be his fifth fight in 7 months. What young Joshua Van is about to learn is that you have to pay your body more respect than that. You're in the UFC. Meanwhile, Brandon Royval is insulted with his experience and his championship pedigree. He has fought for the title, that he is being disrespected in the line as he is. He feels he should easily be the favorite here, and he has the experience and the pedigree to top it off with the fact that he trains in Denver. He's got cardio. He's longer, taller. He's not younger, but he's not old. And so for this reason, I think Royval is a great opportunity at plus money also.
I saw that quote, actually, Lou. I thought that was pretty funny. He said he thinks he's the most disrespected fighter, especially when it comes to the odds makers, and they continue to make him the underdog. So I'm looking forward to that one to see what he's got. Let's go to one of the title fights here. I'm excited about this one. We know that the flyweight doesn't produce many knockouts, but Kara France, he has the ability to do that, but he's going up against the defending champion and Alex Pantoja. Do you think he has a shot in this one?
Yeah, we're going to take him in this one, and I'll tell you why. 9 years ago in The Ultimate Fighter, these two fought, and at that point in time, Pantoja was the big dog in the house at 26 years old. He fought Kara France, who was 23. He was hardly out of diapers. Kara France fared well, lost a decision, and now we spin it 9 years forward. The difference is Pantoja's still top dog, but in a division paper thin. And that's evidenced by the fact that Kara France, 1-2 in his last 3, is getting this title shot. However, Kara France is a bad matchup for Pantoja. He's his size, he wings heavy shots. Pantoja accepts almost 4 significant strikes a round, and Kara France lands almost 5 significant strikes around. In my business, that's really bad math. So Pantoja's going to have to get him down. He was able to do it 9 years ago, but then Kara France got up immediately each time. The difference is Kara France has had 9 years now at City Kickboxing with Eugene Behrman, arguably one of the best coaches on the globe. And so I look for Cara France to come ready to go, ready to keep this fight standing. And in a standing fight, his power and volume will be too much for Pantoja, who at 35 has been a gallant champion, but 35 years old in the heavyweight division isn't a bad thing. 35 years old at 125 means the end is near, and I think it's tomorrow night.
Lou, before we get to the main, just curious on any other thoughts you may have on this card for any of these other fights before we get to Oliveira and Topuria in the main.
Yeah, I think there's a fight priced just really obtusely, and it's Nico Price, and he's fighting a young man named Kobe Smith. Kobe Smith might be like minus 2,100 or some unusual number like that. The total 1.5 is heavily to the under. I think at 260 you can see over 1.5 plus 220. I think Nico Price knows he's being set up to be a patsy. He is no patsy. He's got the experience, longer, taller, and I think this fight goes over 1.5 at the plus 220. If you want to take it just to start the second round, you still get a plus number for those of you that live outside Las Vegas.
Love it. Let's go to the main title fight here. We've got the undefeated Ilia Topuria. I saw earlier in the week minus 475. I'm seeing minus 420 here at the South Point, and Charles Oliveira going up against him. I don't think you have a fight on the side, but anything else you're looking at in this one?
Yeah, Topuria is the legit favorite. He opened 300, and he's probably going to finish Oliveira in this fight. And the key is that everybody believes that this is just going to be a tsunami wave, and that's going to be early. And I beg to differ. I want to give Oliveira his respect. He's longer, taller. He is older, and he isn't on the feet what Topuria is. But he is a proud old lion. He's coming here with very great focus. He has excellent experience. He's been in with the elite. And I think this fight goes over 1.5. You can see that's minus 125. And that number's coming down. I would wait if you want to bet that, because by the time tomorrow comes, that could easily be a pick'em.
There you go. Again, this is a title fight. Lou, as you said, this is a card that UFC has built their whole year around, and we're excited to get it going here in Las Vegas.
Can't wait till tomorrow. I think it's 3 o'clock for the early prelims, then 5 and 7. So we'll be glued to the set as well to the rest of Sports by the Book. See what other great tips I can get from you and Alex.
Lou,
go ahead, Alex.
Sorry, any thoughts on the boxing match that'll be coming up here in Las Vegas that Dana White is promoting with Canelo and Crawford? Just general, not even betting wise. Just, are you excited about it?
No, I hate boxing. I left it in the 80s because it was filthy, and that's why I'm into UFC. However, with Dana in the boxing scene now, there is hope, because the greed and avarice and dishonesty that has traditionally plagued it for the last several decades may have a chance of at least settling out a little bit with Dana White, a new, fresh voice leading some charge in boxing. It desperately needs it.
Yep.
Lou, one last one before we let you go. It's never too early to ask you about football. It's about 2 months away from week 1 in the NFL. Is there anything you've placed so far? Is there anything you're looking to place? I know we both know you're a big win total guy once we come around to the NFL season.
I have invested again this year $34.99 in the Warren Sharp manifesto that comes 500 pages. I have not gotten it yet, so I've done zero NFL work outside of the draft. My NFL season starts the day the draft is over, because that's when you know that what the teams, how they see themselves by what they did. And so I'll be busy betting Saratoga these next 3 weeks of July while I read the Warren Sharp manifesto and prepare myself to put bullets in the 6-shooter for the NFL. And by the third week, Jeff, July, third week of July, I'll have 1 or 2 tidbits, but I got to garner my information out of that amount of data, and it takes some time.
There we go. We'll be on the lookout for that in the next month plus from Lou Finicaro. You can get him on the tweets at Gamblu, gamblu.com. all the plays for UFC 317 right here on Sports by the Book. Lou, pleasure. It's good to see you. We'll have you again soon before the NFL season kicks off.
New studio looks great, guys. Keep up the good work, and thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. Lou Finicaro, everyone. Always awesome to talk to Lou. All right, trivia questions going in the bottom. JR's got to beat Nick to the punch here today, or else this thing's done here for the month of June. And also, by the way, if anyone else wins, Nick clinches the month of June as well. So, Dean Hilt, if you're out there, you can clinch it up for Nick as well.
Did we say what the sport was today?
The topic today, I believe it was horse racing, right?
It is horse racing.
Yeah, I believe it was horse racing.
So Dean Hilt may just sneak in there.
Yeah, well, there you go. All right, we'll take a break when we get back. Baseball and Vinny Magliulo as well when we get back. Sports by the Book, South Point Studio.
Football contest sign-up season is here, and you don't want to miss out on the action. With millions of dollars on the line each and every week in the world's biggest football contest, there's only one proxy to trust, footballcontest.com. Maddie and Tony have set the gold standard for football contest proxy services with 20 years of experience and over 13 million in winnings for their clients. All you have to do is get to Vegas between now and the start of football season to sign up in person, and they do the rest, making sure your picks are entered every week. Whether you want to play in the Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, Super Contest Gold, or the new Super Contest College Contest, Maddie and Tony have you covered. Their new website has everything you need to know about these football contests and more, including how you can reserve the best proxy in the business. Experience matters, so go with the pros at footballcontest.com, the gold standard proxy service. Another thank you to Lou for hopping on with us. Looking forward to this UFC 317. And as always on this Friday, this episode is brought to you by footballcontest.com. If you want to enter any Vegas football contest this summer, you have to go with the pros at footballcontest.com. Experience matters, so visit proxy.footballcontest.com and use promo code ALEX for a special offer from Maddie and Tony. Looking forward to that. Some new contest coming out this year too, Jeff.
College football contest over at the Westgate. Looking forward to that, to say the very least. All right, we got baseball to get to here on a Friday as we are into the final weekend of June. Monday's the final day of June, crazy enough. I'm going to be talking 4th of July a week from now. Let's start in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, where there is a chance of rain up until about 9 o'clock. So we could get a little bit of a delayed start in Pittsburgh tonight, but it looks like they'll be able to get the game in. The Mets, after winning the final 2 of that 4-game series against Atlanta, go to Pittsburgh to take on Mitch Keller and the Pirates. Mitch Keller, after a big year last year, has really reverted back to what he was before. It looked like he fully turned that corner. Now he hasn't gotten much run support, but 1-10 is still 1-10 with a not sparkly ERA over 4. He'll take on David Peterson, who's had really just one bad start. Pitched well in Atlanta until he was left in too long. Got battered pretty good by the Phillies on Sunday. Peterson is a -140 favorite for the whole game. He's -135 for the first 5, a total of 8 at PNC tonight, Alex.
Yeah, with Peterson, Jeff, to your point against Atlanta, I mean, he still went 7 innings, gave up 3 earned runs. So I'll take that from him again here against the Pirates, which I would be shocked if they even got 3 off of him. Both of these lineups have seen these pitchers, and Mitch Keller, he threw very, very good against the Mets the first time, May 13th. He went 7 innings, just 2 earned runs, 8 strikeouts, and 1 walk. Well, I'm going to go against that a little bit, especially because Peterson actually gave up 5 hits and 2 earned runs against his Pittsburgh team the first time around. I think the Mets are going to get this one. I like the fact that they just took 2 off of Atlanta. Things are starting to tick back up for New York. So I think this is a cheap price that you're getting because, of course, we know that they were struggling a little bit there before those 2 wins against the Braves.
Just want to throw this out there real quick because the narrative has completely gotten out of control. Well, did get out of control on Soto, as we talked about last month. Soto in the month of June for the Mets only has an OPS of 1,223, which would be good for the 4th best ever in a Met has ever had in a month, period, and with still a few days to go. Wayne Garrett, Mike Piazza make a lot of sense. Number 3 was Fernando Tatis in July of 2008, because of course it was. That makes a whole lot of sense. Not junior, senior in his later playing days with the Mets. I would only be on the Mets here. I think they've survived. And this is kind of, again, we talked about how the NL East is going all back and forth, more likely than not the rest of the year. The Mets have just completed a stretch where they went 3-11 and are still in first place. So feels like a missed opportunity by Philly, even with how well they played at the beginning of the stretch. They just scored 1 run in 3 games in Houston. So feels like a little bit of a missed opportunity for the Phillies, who we'll get to in a moment. Well, let's go to Cincinnati next. Reds and Padres, Cease and Martinez. Total is 9 tonight in the Queen City. It's been, just a brutal weather week in Cincinnati. You're going to be 90 at first pitch with 60% humidity. Yikes. Again, you see a 9, which, all right, both of these guys have been average starters this year. But boy, that weather plays into the hands of the hitters yet again.
Yeah, I don't hate that at all. That would be probably the strongest lean for me is going over. Nick Martinez going up against his former team, but it did not go well for him last year when he did see the Padres. So I don't really trust him to pitch great in this one, even though he's coming off of 2 shutout games against the Yankees and the Cardinals. He's got 7 quality starts on the year. Dylan Cease just 5, but I really think he's kind of a slow starter. He's really starting to get into good form here. Just 1 bad start against the Dodgers mixed in there, but that was the second time they saw him. Still, with that weather, we know this Reds offense, it can be as hot as any offense in the league, so they could definitely get to Cease in this one.
Yeah, I'm staying clear. This Reds just took 2 out of 3 off the Yankees in the middle of the week. Again, Reds just been hovering this whole year between about 4 games over 500 and 4 games under. They have not been able to make any sort of big run. 6 games behind Chicago in that National League Central entering the final weekend of June. All right, moving along. We go to Atlanta, Phillies and Braves. Phillies, we just mentioned, in 1 run in 3 games in Houston, they get swept. The Braves split the 4 games with the Mets. They won the first 2 and then have reverted back to what we've seen for the most part this year, where their offense just went into hibernation the last 2 games. It's going to be Elder and Abel. I know Abel's coming off getting whacked around by the Mets his last time out, but this price seems crazy to me, even with how the Phillies offense, 1 run in 3 games. Yeah, awful, but that's Houston's pitching. Now,
That's right.
Atlanta's pitching has been quite good this year, but this is one of the starters who has not been good in Elder. It would only be a look at Philly at plus 155. I think that price is completely off, Alex.
I echo everything you just said. I mean, I really do think a lot of that had to do with Houston's pitching, and we've kind of been talking about them all year long and how good they have been. Ryan also brought up a stat about the Phillies just struggling there playing against the Astros. So I do like Philly. It would only be them in this spot for me, plus 155. I think that's a great number. I'm curious even maybe run line in the first 5, because I'm with you. I think Mick Abel is the better pitcher and did struggle against the Mets, but before that was doing very, very good, and I think he can do it again here. So yeah, only Phillies for me.
Yeah, I mean, that price is crazy to me. It's an even pitching matchup at worst. And I understand, again, Philly's not playing, again, just an awful. It was just an awful series against a really good team. It happens. Forget it. Just look what the Giants did. They just got swept at home by a terrible team. I mean, it happens. It's baseball. That's why we go out and play the games. Exactly. So we go to Milwaukee next. Brew Crew. Hey, Brew Crew again. I got to give Milwaukee a ton of credit. I really thought this was going to be a middling 500 caliber team. Had it right in the thick of this NL playoff race. Currently holding one of the 3 wild cards entering the weekend, and they get a good reward. They get 3 games against the Rockies. All at AmFam here, starting with Jose Quintana. against unnamed for the Rockies, which is always a good sign when we're dealing with that rotation. -220 on the Crew, +90 on the Rockies, 8.5 your total at AmFam, Alex.
I do think Quintana could pitch really well in this one. Lefty, Rockies are 25th OPS against lefties on the year. So I think it's a good spot to actually take Colorado's team total under 3.5 here at the South Point. I absolutely love that, especially coming off of being home at Coors Field. Now they're going to Milwaukee, a little bit change of scenery here. And I mean, Quintana on the year, he doesn't go deep into games, usually about 5 innings. That is his median, but just 1 earned run, 4 strikeouts in that. So I lean to the full game under, but I also just not knowing who's pitching for the Rockies, I'd rather just dial in on them.
I don't have an issue with that. Again, it's going to be someone not particularly good. That's all we can assume on the Colorado end, more so than anything. All right, Arizona next. Diamondbacks and Marlins. Marlins went to San Francisco and swept the Giants. Bad luck for San Francisco. Diamondbacks lose the final game in Chicago. They do take 2 out of 3 off the White Sox at Wright Field. Now 3 games for Arizona. And look, this is a critical stretch into the All-Star break for the Diamondbacks, where they are purely on the outside looking in right now, but they're only 3.5 games out of a playoff spot entering today's action. So they're still in it. Problem for Arizona is that Corbin Carroll's on the shelf on the IL after getting put on there on Monday. -180 here on Arizona. And here's the other issue for the Diamondbacks. You also see how many teams they have to hop. They have to hop another 3 in order to get into San Diego. They technically have to hop 4 in order to get to San Diego. But -80. Marlins are coming off 3 straight wins. It feels like probably a good time to go against Miami off of the sweep in San Francisco.
I agree, especially with Perez going here. 6.17 ERA, a 1.63 WHIP, 11 strikeouts to 7 walks across 11 2/3 innings. Has not gone in deep into games. Has yet to get into the 5th inning in his 3 starts. So while I do think he will be good, he did touch 100 miles per hour twice with his fastball, but I think this is a bad lineup to go against. So I do like the Diamondbacks. I actually think that's a very good price on them. I like that first 5 too, -150. I like Merrill Kelly a lot on the other side. He's got 93 strikeouts on the year to just 25 walks, 105 WHIP. So yeah, I think this is a great spot for the D-backs to put up some wins the next few days.
And for Arizona, again, they're going to get going into the break. They get a big series against San Francisco, 4 starting on Monday, too. So might not be a bad time to catch the Giants, who are not playing well since the Rafael Devers acquisition. All right, we go to American League only games now. We go to Baltimore. Tampa Bay Rays have low-key turned themselves from a complete afterthought into, well, a half game behind the New York Yankees in the AL East. Just played unbelievably high-end ball over the last month now. Keep in mind, remember, one thing with Tampa, they had a front-loaded home schedule, 50 home games, 31 road games so far, but they have a better win percentage on the road than they do at home. So, again, when you're not playing your own ballpark for a year, that stuff can happen. They take on the disappointing Orioles here today at Camden Yards. Pepio's a -130 favorite against Chigano, +115 on the O side, and 8.5, I should say, on the total.
It is pretty crazy. I did see on a major network a prediction already, way too soon prediction, who will be in the World Series, and it was Dodgers and the Rays. So that was pretty interesting to me. I'm not completely buying them just yet. I actually think this is a good price on Baltimore, but really just breaking down how the offenses have been in the last 7 days. I've been talking about Tampa Bay, so I'm not going to go against them here.
It'll only be the Rays. Again, look at that. Half game behind New York in the East. And also, by the way, Houston has hopped the Yankees as well. So, again, we talk about seeding is going to be important in these American League playoffs. We thought it was a crash course for Detroit and New York. That crash course is currently off the course right now with the way the Yankees have played over the last few weeks, even though Fried did stop the bleeding on Wednesday in Cincinnati. All right, up next, speaking of the Yankees, we go there. We go to the Bronx. They take on the A's. It'll be Mitchell, Spence, and Warren on the other side for the Bombers. Big price on New York, -250, +210 on the A's, and an 8.5 total, Alex.
I really think this is just too high on the Yankees and what we've seen from them as of late, I lean to the Athletics, but they did get blanked the other day when I took them as well against Detroit. So I'm not going to jump in, but just from a value standpoint, I think that plus 210 is pretty tempting. Minus 250 is just too much. I think Mitch Spence has been really good. And even looking at his median numbers here on the road, I guess that's might be the issue is median number. But as of late, okay, median number is just 2 1/3 innings pitched. But as of late, he's gone 5 in 3 games straight and then 4 2/3 against Cleveland. He did get hit up pretty good in that one, but that was at home. So, yeah, I mean, I think he'll be okay in this one. But again, feast or famine with the pinstripes. So you just never know which one we're going to get.
We go to Detroit next, the other top team in the American League. It'll be Gibson Long against Festa of Minnesota here tonight. And Alex, this is a price bet here. Detroit's only laying a quarter. You can get as good as minus 120. I understand, again, we don't know what type of length we're going to get out of Gibson Long, but you're going to give me them at a cheap price at home against a Minnesota team that is, again, even though they've won their last 2, has really struggled to pitch over the last 10 days. So I would only be a look to Detroit at that cheap home price.
It's so tough. These Tiger games where they're going bullpen dicks, they still find ways to win, right? And so with that being said, I think that it should be closer to the Minnesota being a small favorite here. And I mean, yesterday I wanted to go against Simeon Woods Richardson, and it was 10-1 at the end of that game against the Mariners. So I'm not going to touch it. If anything, I'd be leaning to the dog here. Maybe the Twins can make it 3 in a row, but nothing definite.
We go next to Boston, Bayo and Berrios, Jays and Red Sox. 8.5 your total at Fenway tonight. Boston small favorite at minus 15. Red Sox just got swept at Anaheim. Even money on the Toronto Blue Jays.
I'm glad that you just said that, because what reason do we have here for the Red Sox being the favorites? I mean, I like the way Toronto's been playing. I think Berrios has been just as good, if not better, than Bayo on the other side. So I really am confused by this number. I'm going to take that even money here for Toronto to win this first game.
I'm going to steer clear. Now, weather, let's just do a quick weather report of Boston, because, again, those temperatures on the East Coast, that heat dome is now gone. So they've really normalized on the East Coast now over the last 24 hours. It's only going to be 68 degrees. So it's not great hitting conditions with the wind blowing a crosswind slightly in from right to left. So, yeah, I guess Berrios keeps the ball in the ballpark. That's always the deal with him, right? Just got to keep the ball in the ballpark. I would tend to agree with you. It would only be a look to Toronto, but I'll steer clear. I'll leave that one to you here today, Alex. We go to Texas next. Evaldi and Gilbert, good pitching matchup at Globe Life tonight. 7.5 your total. Marin, I think we got a case of wrong team favorite here, Alex. I understand the problems that the Rangers have had offensively, but you're going to give me even money with Evaldi at home? I'll very happily take that.
So it is really interesting because Evaldi kind of just disappeared, and I didn't even really realize that he's been on the IL, and now he's coming back, and he didn't even do a rehab with any minor league team. So that makes me a little bit nervous because we've seen that in the past, and it doesn't always go great here. I agree with you, a great pitching matchup. If anything, I would take a shot that he could limit this Mariners offense, and I'd go for first 5 under 3.5. I'm just not that confident since we haven't seen him since May 27th.
Yeah, the quiet, again, it just kind of speaks to what the Rangers have been. It's been a very quiet month away for Evaldi, and it's been a quiet year for Texas, who's a game under 500. Again, they're only a game and a half out of the playoffs, though. That's the thing with the American League. That race, and you know what? I'm willing to put Tampa in that upper echelon at this point with those other three of like, hey, they're probably going to host a wild card series, maybe even steal the AL East. Potentially. Still don't think they will do that, but look at the rest of this. Toronto's 6 games over 500. Seattle currently in that 6 hole or the third wild card, 2 games over. Cleveland, who we've ragged on for about a month, is only a half game out. Angels, I mean, look at this. Look how, I mean, the Royals have lost 10 straight home games and are only 3.5 games out of a wild card spot right now. It is wide open for at least the final wild card, maybe even the second wild card, depending on what you think of Toronto. All right, speaking of the Guardians, Midwestern matchup in Cleveland today. St. Louis and Cleveland. Gray and Ortiz. Ortiz has pitched relatively well over his last few times out. And Alex, this has been all St. Louis action over after the initial move to Cleveland from -30 to -20. Now back to -35 on St. Louis. Total 8.5. I'm steering clear, but it would only be a look to the Guardians at a plus price at home.
See, I'm leaning the other way here with the Cardinals. I think that's a pretty cheap price here with Sonny Gray. And you're right, Ortiz has been feasible the last few games, but he did give up 6 earned runs against Seattle, so that makes me nervous, and then 4 against the Reds. Last start, though, against the Athletics, 0 earned runs, 10 strikeouts, 2 walks, so maybe figuring some things out. On the other side, though, I do trust Sonny Gray. Really just one bad start for him against Milwaukee. So I think that's a pretty cheap price. I might just go first 5 looking at the Cardinals money line and avoid that run line.
Let's go to Chicago next. And boy, for the San Francisco Giants, this series could not come at a better time after, let's just call it as is. You get swept at home by Miami, that's embarrassing when you're a playoff caliber team like the Giants are supposed to be. Now you go on and take on the American League's worst in their building. And this has to be a minimum of 2 out of 3 for San Francisco, and probably needs to be a sweep to at least get things back on track after, again, you have a 6-game week with Miami and Chicago. You're expecting to go 5-1. Now, base case scenario, you're going 3-3.
Yeah.
It's Roop, it's Savali. It's -50 on the Giants, total of 9 in this one at Rate Field.
Any weather concerns in this one?
That's a good question, Alex White. Oh, yeah. It's going to be hot and the wind's blowing out. So there you go. That's why we're at 9 instead of probably 8 or 8.5 tonight.
Okay. So nothing for me in this one. Then I was going to try and trust both the pitchers here, especially with the Giants struggling offensively, but definite pass now.
I'd almost lean to the over with those weather conditions. It's Savali. Look, Savali is has been an average major league starter his whole career when he's been a starter. And Roop has been an average major league starter so far this year.
Yeah.
So you could pop a big number here today, but again, the Giants have to hit. They didn't hit other than really just one spurt against Miami through the week. All right, let's go to Houston next. This is a heavy duty one. 2 division leaders, Cubs and Astros. Astros coming off the 3-game sweep over the Phillies where they allowed just 1 run in 3 games. And it's just an interesting matchup here pitching-wise. Walter on the Astro side, Horton on the Cubs side. Stroh's a small favorite here. A total of 8. This is a complete stay-off for me. I feel like the total may be a little bit low. But, again, we're coming off a dominant week for Houston's pitching.
Really, I'm with you. I think that the total might be too low. And it is Walter, not Framber Valdez or one of their aces going here in this spot, but it does make me nervous. There was very few runs scored over the last 3 days. I do think the Cubs, though, can get this going here. So I think 8's a great number. If you made me play it, I'd definitely go over here. I don't have enough on either pitcher so far on the year. Just 41 innings pitched for Horton and 23 2/3 for Walter. So, yeah, not enough for me to really make a confident play, but I would try to go for both offenses, if anything.
2 more on the baseball front, and then we'll bring our good friend Vinny Maliola in. Royals have lost 10 straight games at Kauffman Stadium. Again, they're not playing well in general, but that is just insane for a team that was so good at home a year ago. Dustin May and Cameron, we've talked about Nick Cameron, who his numbers look pretty darn good, but maybe a little bit of luck involved with how well he's pitched. That's really not what you want to see if you're Kansas City. 10 straight home losses, and you welcome the Dodgers in.
Yeah.
This is a stay off with Dustin May as a -150 road favorite here.
That's such a odd number, isn't it? But I do think it is correct. I even think that number's a little high on the Dodgers. Do I want to jump in and take +135 with the Royals struggling at home? Not really, but looking at Dustin May, in his last 3 starts, hitters are hitting .250 and a 6.21 xFIP. So he's been pretty lucky as well. Noah Cameron on the other side, his numbers are right there. .262 is the average of his last 3 opponents and a 3.70 xFIP. So maybe a lean to the over here, but then we got to get the Royals bats going and slight lean to that home dog. But looking at their offensive numbers, this is bad. Batting .179. As a team, .239 on-base percentage and a 41 WRC plus. So that +135 is not enough to jump in here.
Yeah, I agree with you. Wish we were seeing like a +150 or 55 on the KC side. Just not quite there. All right, we go to the Angels Stadium next. LA is 40-40, 500. I don't think anyone had that in their pocket, especially with how, my goodness, just good start, horrendous middle, really good stretch over the last few weeks for the Angels, who, again, only one game out of a playoff spot. Soriano and Irvin, we talked about the Nats. Nats have just fallen off. They're just a normal, mediocre to below average baseball team now, even with all that good young talent. Minus 60 on Soriano, 8.5 the total. I'd actually only look to Washington. I think this is a little bit of a steep price on the Angels, but again, Jay Gervin has been wildly inconsistent this year.
I do agree. Minus 160 is a little bit steep for this Angels team, but it's just, I mean, Soriano has been really good. There's one really bad start in there against Boston, but other than that, I mean, he's got a bunch of quality starts lined up, 4 of his last 5. I do think he could pitch good here against the Nats. What is that first 5, Ryan, if you don't
40.
mind?
It was 40.
Minus 140?
Or plus 40. Plus 40 on
yeah.
the favorite, minus 60 on the.
If anything, I'd have to look Angels run line and lay that half a run first 5 just to try and back Soriano. But I mean, he's one of the best ground ball pitchers going today, if not the best. Yeah, 65% there. And looking at his last 3 starts, holding opponents to a 153 average and a 181 xFIP. That is the best on the board from any pitcher going today. So, yeah, Angels run line first 5 if I were to play it.
There we go. That's the whole baseball card here on a Friday morning for us, Friday afternoon and evening for everyone across the country. So looking forward to that. We'll have Alex's whiteboard in a little bit. We'll also tell you who won trivia, and we'll also bring in our good friend Vinny Magliulo when we get back right here. Sports by the Book, South Point Studio.
Football contest sign-up season is here, and you don't want to miss out on the action. With millions of dollars on the line each and every week in the world's biggest football contest, there's only one proxy to trust, footballcontest.com. Maddie and Tony have set the gold standard for football contest proxy services with 20 years of experience and over 13 million in winnings for their clients. All you have to do is get to Vegas between now and the start of football season to sign up in person, and they do the rest, making sure your picks are entered every week. Whether you want to play in the Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, Super Contest Gold, or the new Super Contest College Contest, Maddie and Tony have you covered. Their new website has everything you need to know about these football contests and more, including how you can reserve the best proxy in the business. Experience matters, so go with the pros at footballcontest.com, the gold standard proxy service.
Sports by the Book.
Sports by the Book.
Sports by the Book.
Sports by the Book, South Point Studio.
We don't make stuff up here.
I would only play the Pirates team total going under.
What the hell happened to Minnesota's pitching?
This total has really crashed without plumbing the lineup.
I think this number's too high, but they're laying me the 6.
Oh, I know.
Caitlin Clark drives handle on the WNBA.
Never mind all these Mickey Mouse other stations. We are giving you hands-on information.
Welcome back in Sports by the Book, South Point Studio. Jeff Parles, Alex White. We're going to reveal the trivia answer right now because we can declare the month of June to a victor here. The trivia question is: the oldest continuously run horse race in North America ran its first edition on this date in 1860. That's a long time ago. What is the current name of this race? That's, of course, in Toronto. That's the King's Plate. That's been run since 1860. Back then, it was known as the Queen's Plate because, of course, in a was not known as the Queen's Plate. It was known as the Queen's Plate up until a little less than a year ago now. Recently renamed the King's Plate for obvious reasons. And
passing of one monarch.
Yep, exactly. And Nick got it done. He's won the month of June. There's a new champion in the building in trivia as JR has been dethroned from his crown to another crown here.
The key was North America.
Yes.
Right? You start thinking maybe, obviously the Derby or the Travers, but Woodbine, that race is at Woodbine. It's a great race, great card that day. And there's some terrific racing at Woodbine. No question.
Vinny, have you ever been to Woodbine?
Yes. Very good. Very nice facility. Upgraded slots there as well. So naturally I was there.
Of course.
But I did get a chance to go to Woodbine and Mohawk.
Huge fan of that area. I mean, again, Toronto is one of my favorite cities on the planet. I just love that city.
There's a lot of tracks in Canada, by the way, but now some of them are in the middle of nowhere.
Well, I
went to a track up there. I went up there. I went up to a racetrack up there, Rail Carlton.
Okay.
And I just kept looking for it. It was a little scary, because my theory on, Italians being out in the middle of nowhere, and especially where there's a lot of cornfields and things like that. Not, a little bit of a aversion to that. So anyway, see the movie. There's a lot of tracks, a lot of good racing up in Canada for sure.
You didn't even introduce him yet. Our second half to our Italian duo for the day.
We
I followed Lou Finicaro. I mean, this is like, it's like the old Italian Friday on Sports by the Book. Lou does a good job too, by the way. He broke down the
I
UFC
will say,
card.
as much as we love Lou, you have Lou beating the hair department.
Well, we have two different barbers. There's no question about it.
That's one way to put it.
No question.
We haven't we haven't really talked much NBA draft react. Oh, come on, Ryan. So NBA draft's done. I still don't understand why they did at the split day 1, day 2, but whatever.
TV. Come on.
Ronnie James got drafted last year. We don't need to do that again. So Cooper Flagg, obviously Cooper Flagg going 1 was not much of a shock. It actually was a pretty stable top 5 when it was all said and done once Bailey went to Utah. But Vinny, is there anything in the market that moved? I would imagine if it did, it was slight. And also too, Vinny, I just got to bring this up. Summer League is right around the corner.
Yes.
How do you guys usually handle Summer League here at the South Point?
Good question. So the games will be posted for the Summer League, and the fact that a lot of the games are here, right? Almost just about every one of them, right? So a lot of betting. There's no doubt that the fact that the majority of the games are here, Jeff, that folks do enjoy it because they go to the games too, right? A lot of those folks, they want to get a jump on the regular season. They're fans. They're in town. It's almost like another show. When folks come here, because a lot of them are not going to get to see these teams and a lot of the players, even if they're in an NBA city, right? So, but they do enjoy to come here, and they can go to multiple games, over the course of their stay. So those games draw very well. We do post them on a daily basis, and they do pretty well. And the fact that the folks that do come here bet on them, and a lot of times they don't have to bet on them right here. Some of them bet before they go. But remember this, if you're a non-Nevada resident, you can still have a mobile app account. You can have a mobile app as long as you're within the state. And a lot of folks set up the account during the course of their stay. When they go out to the games, they bet right from the game. So it works out really well. So a lot of fun there. As far as the draft, nothing that was earth-shattering that moved the needle in terms of did anybody drop significantly. Actually, there were more teams that got raised. I mean, obviously the injury to Halliburton has now impacted the Pacers to where they're up to 40 and probably going to be climbing because he's probably going to miss all the next season, at least the regular season. Spurs went from, believe it or not, 12 to 15. Spurs, the Nets might have, some folks might have thought that the Nets would have gotten some play. And it looks like the Nets are kind of going old school, trying to rebuild their team through the draft. 5 picks in the first round. Now you can grade that first round however you want. Not the highest of grades, probably the French. They took one of the French players, and France continues to do extremely well, right? To be well represented in the draft. But another takeaway, Duke continues to be a lottery factory, right? If you want to call it, like, even though over the years a lot of folks felt that it was Kentucky, but Duke's been in that spot even when Coach K was there up until a few years ago. So, but nothing earth-shattering in terms of a lot of movement on the draft. But again, the futures are there.
You mentioned Kentucky, first time since pre-John Calipari being there that they did not have a first-round pick.
Yeah.
Even though Amari Williams got drafted in the second round last night.
But they've had a good offseason. Pope's got a lot of had a pretty good recruiting class coming in. Really did pretty well in the transfer portal. Always coming back. He decided to not go to the NBA draft. So a lot of high hopes for Big Blue Nation this year. St. John's also, I think, has done did a pretty good job too in terms of the portal.
Football.
Yes.
Benny, never too early.
Never.
Go next.
Never too early. So we talked about it the last time you were in. Again, it'll be a little bit of a process for the college football numbers, win totals, games of the year. I know games of the year usually do pop in the next month, though, usually.
Yeah, they'll. So Chris is away on vacation. I'm going to take a little time. So no rush, really. Probably closer. Wouldn't shock me if we were closer to August for games of the year this year. So, but they'll be up, and we'll figure out a nice prop for the national championship like last year.
It's a little more difficult this year because, look, Ohio State and Georgia going in last year were head and shoulders above everyone else power ratings wise, and it took a very bizarre path to get there, but it ended up being the correct side. It just this year, and look, very early into my work here, the SEC seems super down. Other than Texas, Georgia will still have high end talent, but there's big questions at quarterback. I don't know if we can respect Alabama the same yet with DeBoer as we did, obviously, through the same.
Need to see how he
see a little bit more from what we saw a year ago.
Recruiting and portal. Go ahead.
And it's just that it feels like the best teams in the country are all in the Big Ten this year.
Big Ten,
where Penn State, Ohio State, and Oregon. There are questions at quarterback for Ohio State and Oregon. Even though it looks like Dante Moore is going to have that job in Oregon, and probably saying at Ohio State, but it feels like it's the Big Ten's world at the current moment in college football.
Kind of looks like the Big Ten in football this year, like the SEC in basketball this past season, right? By the way, I have early Penn State #1.
So did I. I mean, it scares the living out.
Yeah, I know it does. It is a little scary. Chris and I talked about that before we went on vacation last week, and we actually repeated it several times to each other. And Chris is a big Penn State fan. Yeah. So, but look, there's no doubt that I think when you go back to the SEC too, look at Mississippi. We know they're going to score some points, right? And be very offensive minded. We'll take a real dive, and we'll break down conferences, I'm sure, as we get closer. We're less than just about 2 months away from college football kicking off. So, Big 12 will obviously have some things to say as well. And I think with the SEC this year, Jeff, we're going to look at a lot of transfers from the mid-majors and the smaller conferences, right? Where a lot of those players, they have good years And then that's where I think you could make a case that there's as much, if not more, recruiting from schools that are some of the smaller schools because of the transfer portal dynamics than, say, high school seniors, right? I mean, the portal is more impactful, and I don't really think that's a shock, but that's something that we've got to get our hands around. I'll tell you another thing I'm looking at, and is stability of staffs too.
Yeah.
Head coach, offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, and quarterback returning. So looking at schools like that, for example, I think SMU is in that category where that's something that we're going to look at. So there's a little bit of a tidbit for anybody handicapping out there. I think that's something worth taking a look at. I don't mind giving that out. Again, it creates more business when you get a little insight as to what we're thinking.
I think that's great advice. And there's one team in the SEC that, of course, I need to dive in and everything, but just keeps sticking out to me, and that is South Carolina.
Yeah.
With that being said, and bringing back Lenora Sellers and me actually trusting him in that position as the quarterback, and they have a pretty easy schedule. So I want to go through all of their schedules, of course.
Pay attention to schedules, no question.
Yeah.
I want to piggyback on something you said, because I did do a little looking at Heisman numbers earlier in the week just to see where the whole market has everything at. It's funny because you're the first person I've heard mention South Carolina as like, hey, dark horse potential. Maybe, I mean, look,
had a great run, right?
They were one step away from sneaking in the back door of the playoff last year.
Exactly.
But it's interesting to say where them and Florida has for the second consecutive year, just an absurd schedule where they're going to legitimately play three of the five best teams in the country, arguably.
Jeez.
Again. And they have a hard non-con on top of it. But Lagway and Sellers were the 5th and 6th favorites right now to win the Heisman Trophy. Arch Manning, by the way, is the betting favorite to win the Heisman, which is not much of a shock.
I don't think that's surprising, right?
But even though for a guy who's had very limited action, it is hard to justify a bet on him to win the Heisman, at least preseason, at that short of a number, which was 7 or 8 to 1.
I think it's there are so many aspects that are wide open in college, but folks will start. They're doing their studying. There's more betting opportunities right now with the NFL. And folks, I think that'll start to pick up as we move forward. So we're a couple of months away from college. We mentioned we're at a little over that for the NFL. But week 1 is up. Yes or no? To make the playoffs. Regular season wins, divisions. Oh, jackpot card, by the way. Again, just put that out there, 25,000 guaranteed. Pick week 1's winners, most winners. No point spreads, $5 card, play as many as you want. That usually goes through 35,000 for the last few years. So it's
looking forward to it as always.
There it is, right there. The jackpot parlay card.
It's the best promotion in week 1 in the NFL in Las Vegas, here in the Rampart.
Yep.
Get them in.
And by the way, if it goes over, any money that's that's bet on each card that exceeds 25 goes into the pool. So the pool again has gone through like 35,000 in the last few years.
We should have asked you to bring in a horse racing forum and see if you had any picks going into this weekend.
I did not. I know we've. I did not get. I'm doing the card as soon as we get off the show. I'm sure Ralph had some picks. Ralph and his group had some picks this morning, didn't he?
Lou brought up Saratoga. Are you going this year?
I am not going to Saratoga this year. No, I'll be at Del Mar this year, but I will not be getting back to Saratoga. Haven't been as much as I did when I was living back there, Alex.
Yeah.
But great spot. If you're a if you're a sports fan, if there's an opportunity for you to see, some of the great racetracks. We mentioned Woodbine earlier, but if to get to Del Mar and Saratoga is special. Keeneland, Belmont's going through a renovation. Get to Santa Anita before it goes away. Of course, Churchill Downs, iconic, right? So. But Saratoga, and one of the oldest courses in in the United States. Worth seeing, no doubt.
When the weather is right,
yeah,
there are very few places that are prettier
Beautiful,
than that area of the country.
Yeah.
When the weather is right. Also, can't wait for Belmont to be fully renovated. I know they're probably going to need one extra year.
Yeah, in fact, the Belmont Stakes next year, I think, has already been determined. It's going to be at Saratoga again for one more year. So,
Vinny, you and the entire city of Las Vegas will end up at Del Mar across the next few weeks.
Oh yeah,
a month from now is when the race.
It's very difficult. It's almost impossible to go to Del Mar and not see some folks that you know from Las Vegas. It's great. It's a great vibe. It's a lot of fun down there. You know, personally, wish the fields were a little bigger. It's almost as much of a social gathering.
It's not a bad thing.
It is.
Yeah.
There are worse places to gather than Del Mar, California.
Oh, it's spectacular. It's a lot of fun.
Well, all right. We're going to take a quick break. When we get back, Alex's whiteboard, and we'll have some final thoughts here for the week. Almost the end of June, guys, right here, Sports by the Book.
Sports by the book.
Sports by the book.
Sports by the book.
Sports by the Book, South Point Studio.
We don't make stuff up here.
I would only play the Pirates team total going under.
What the hell happened to Minnesota's pitching?
This total has really crashed without plumbing the lineup.
I think this number's too high, but they're landing me the 6.
Oh, I know.
Caitlin Clark drives handle on the WNBA.
Never mind all these Mickey Mouse other stations. We are giving you hands-on information.
We have 11 amazing restaurants featuring a wide variety for every price range and appetite. South Point's Garden Buffet has something for everyone at unbeatable prices. Or if hunger strikes in the middle of the night, join us at Coronado Cafe. The American menu offers breakfast, lunch, or dinner 24 hours a day, plus a Chinese kitchen for authentic Chinese dishes from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. From steak and eggs to wonton soup, it's fast and friendly service 24/7. When you need a quick pick-me-up, you can find it at our state-of-the-art Starbucks just inside the main South Point entrance. Order ahead with the Starbucks app for easy mobile order pickups. Or enjoy your favorites in the relaxing dining area anytime, day or night. If you love Mexican food, Baja Miguel's has all of your south of the border favorites. There are dozens of classics to choose from, like fajitas, ceviche, chimichangas, tacos, and more. And for spirit lovers, Baja's colorful non-smoking tequila bar is right outside.
Welcome back in Sports by the Book, South Point Studio, wrapping things up here on a Friday. Vinny Maluel's on the far side, Alex White in the middle. I'm Jeff Parles. Get the whiteboard in a second, but Vinny, I just want to ask you real quick, because this is, historically speaking, this is the total let's take a break period before football for you guys behind the counter. With the emergence of the WNBA, which you talked about with us last week, where Caitlin Clark just drives action. Now, granted, Clark likely will not play again tonight, but just how different now is the end of June, the month of July, even the first few weeks of August now for you guys behind the counter than it has been historically?
Well, I mean, there was a time when, you know, you could take most of the summer off because we didn't put up week one. We didn't put up any of the NFL that we have up now, except futures were up. You know, divisions weren't even up. The thing, and I'm going back, even if you only go back, say 20 years, right? There was not that much look ahead, but it was just baseball. The WNBA was really, you know, even when it started, there was just a handful of people that zeroed in on it. Some golf, but it was just, now because we're always in look ahead mode. I mean, obviously the daily baseball activity, the WNBA. We talked earlier in the previous segment about the summer league being here, right? So that gets some interest. We'll have the Open Championship, which will be, we'll get some action. More Wimbledon action than, say, 20 years ago, even though Wimbledon was always very popular. So, again, but it's more behind the scenes, Jeff, for us because of everything that we're working on. We talked about, games of the year in college football and regular season wins, which, by the way, this year we're going to pick the teams and have regular season win total, everything, not just conference games this year. And the conference that was a byproduct of of the COVID situation where we had not everybody was going to play every game outside of their conference. So there's a bit more to it today, and again, the look ahead aspect takes up more time.
Well, as you mentioned, there's plenty of baseball going on right now.
Absolutely.
The whiteboard here on a Friday, and Alex, we're gonna wrap this week up with a 5-0. Sorry to throw the pressure on you, but that's what we're gonna wrap it with.
She loves pressure.
I do. Bring on the pressure. Especially it was a little bit of a rough week. I'm definitely under 500, but we're gonna get back here today. So 5 plays for you that I do really like here. I'm going with the Mets in Pittsburgh. We've got David Peterson, Mitch Keller on the other side. Minus 140. I think that's a great price here on New York. I'm going with the Rockies team total under in Milwaukee now. Quintana getting the start for the Brewers. So I'm going team total under 3.5. Diamondbacks, I'm going to lay the run line here with Arizona. Murakami on the bump. It's minus half a run, minus 115 there. Blue Jays, I'm taking a shot. This is the dog of the day. Blue Jays in Boston. Jose Barrios getting the nod there, even money. And then Angels run line minus 105. Jose Soriano getting the start there. So see if those Angels can stay nice and hot at home here. Those
first 5 run lines have really become our favorites here on the show.
I should have wrote F5 there.
Our listeners know what that means at this point.
Yeah,
we've bet that. I would say that probably if you just look at our breakdowns, that's been as popular of a bet for us through the baseball season. Those first 5 run lines, especially when we're guaranteed those extra at bats for those home teams, which is the case with the Angels here tonight.
Well, an expansion too of the betting menu for baseball too. First inning yes no to score, first 5 innings. So
we have not mentioned the yes no in the first inning in a very long time, Alex. We've not mentioned that.
Instant gratification.
Well, it was Twitter's favorite.
Or quicker
bet.
gratification.
It was Twitter's favorite bet until everyone started losing on that market, Vinny. So that's.
It's there. It's still there.
Oh, look. The more the merrier, right?
I think in our chat they talk about it a little bit. I think.
Yeah. But I mean, it was every other tweet last year. Oh my God, craziness!
I didn't find the double play yet, though.
Yeah, that was one. That's a new market in the newer jurisdictions of a team to turn a double play during the game.
A team to turn a double play, yes or no?
Yeah.
Okay.
It'll be it's over under a half. Yeah, exactly. So it is a yes, no.
When Nolan Ryan was going real strong and he was throwing those no hitters, it was always popular when he was pitching. Yes, no, a no hitter, and that drew a lot of interest when he was flying high, especially when he threw numbers 5, 6, and 7. So.
There we go. All right.
Do we need to go over Lou's again? Or
If you want,
give out Lou's place.
Lou, let's just pull this up real quick.
Yes, just to make sure we don't mess up.
So, all right. So for Lou, he is a money line parlay with Jose Delgado and Felipe Lima. That should pay just about $2. He's on Kaikara France in the co-main.
Yep.
Just about $2 available on France. He's on Brandon Royval, plus 105 is the number here at the South Point end, what he is across the board for the most part. And then he is on, where is our friend Darush on the sheet? Yeah, Benil Darush, Lou got plus 105. It's minus 105 here at the South Point. So shop around and see what you can get. And a lean to the over in the main. So over 1.5 rounds on Oliveira and Topuria. That is a lean. That is not an official play. The other 4 were.
And here in town at T-Mobile.
Yes.
Yep,
not
just down the road.
Not the Apex. So good card.
Competing against a big boxing match, of course.
Oh, is it Jake Paul and Julio Cesar Chavez Jr.?
Which you guys have odds up here.
Yeah.
If people are interested in betting this, they can.
Yeah. Put them the price, Alex.
Yeah, we got Jake Paul minus $6. So if you like Chavez on the other side, plus $4.50.
Spend your night doing something better than watching that boxing match, in quotes. That's all I'll say. Even though, hey, you can bet it and not watch it. So
That's true. But I mean, Lou did a great job breaking down
the UFC?
the top 4.
Yeah,
so
yeah. No, look.
Really excited.
Look, the difference between this UFC card, awesome card.
Yeah.
The boxing match, nonsense.
And it's here, too.
Yeah.
So anytime it's here, you can, like I said, you can add 25% to the handle.
By the way, Lou was not as polite as I was on that boxing match, by the way.
That's coming up.
And that's the good one, the Crawford-Canelo fight that's going to be at Allegiant Stadium in September, which is only a fight we've been waiting for about 5 years, but they waited too long like they did with Pacquiao and Floyd back in the day. So
Correct.
What are you going to do? Vinny, thank you. Always a pleasure.
Good.
Alex, good luck. I speak the 5-0 into existence for you here today. The end of the week. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Congratulations to Nick for wrapping up the month of June. We'll have one bonus question on Monday to wrap up the month of June. Vince, maybe we should make the Monday question as hard as humanly possible.
Yeah.
Make it that it's almost not Googleable. So we'll see. Ryan, Jerry, Vince, and Drew Dog, thank you all as always. Alex, good luck. Enjoy your weekend as well.
Thank you.
We'll
You
see you
too.
guys on Monday right here at 10 a.m. I'm Jeff Parles. It's been Sports by the Book, South Point Studio.